cup advent calendar. And on the way home in the car, I was crocheting a little bit because I've got lots of Christmas present projects on the way. And this here is my attempt to show you guys the snow situation today. There is a fair bit, but it's not too bad. As you can see, it's not that deep. And as well as the advent calendar, I also bought these Scrub Mummy sponges. These are polar bear ones, so some of their seasonal designs, and I needed new ones because I have completely wrecked my current one. And I finally bought a third one of the snow globe glasses that you have seen in one of my previous videos. And instead of getting a bag, I just got a gift bag so I can use this at Christmas time for someone's present. Then after that, it was time for some outdoor time and some snow work. There wasn't too much to do, luckily, but it's good to keep on top of it so it doesn't pile up too much. And I just got some clips for you from my yard. These beautiful snowy trees and just snowy views all around. And this was me having a little walk, trying to look for potential Christmas trees, but as you can see, they are all way too big, so I didn't have any luck there, unfortunately, but that's okay. Here you can see my Scrub Mummy. It's completely wrecked because I was silly and I used it to wash a very sharp knife, and this is what happened. I completely wrecked it. So this is a nice change to my new one, and I didn't realise it's completely white on both sides. I really like that. Now I just have to remember to not wash knives with it. So yesterday I baked this cake. Take a screenshot if you can read Finnish and you want this recipe. I baked a cake, and today it was time to do the filling for it. So it's a chocolate cherry cake. So the first step was to mash the cherries and then drain as much of the liquid out as you can, and I left too much liquid in, I think. It wasn't the way it was meant to be. Anyway, then whipping some cream, and then into that cream I added some cherry jam, some sugar, some vanilla sugar, and then the mashed cherries from the previous clip. And here goes the sugar, and then soon the vanilla sugar. I'd already mixed a little bit. As you can see, there's kind of red spots everywhere from the jam, I think that was. And here for some reason I took forever to get the other ingredients in. Yeah, this was meant to be like a fluffy, creamy kind of mixture. Oh, also mascarpone cheese, but I couldn't find that, so I just bought cream cheese and mixed that in. For some reason, I love how these kind of things look when you are mixing in things with two different colours and it kind of swirls. I just love how that looks like, whether it's like chocolate and vanilla or something like this. So that is the cherries. It is a little too liquidy. It turned out okay, but I'm just saying that it probably should have been a bit drier. I just got a little impatient when I was draining it because I don't really have the well. So basically build the cake upside down in the tin after it's been cut to 3 parts and made undry. And I probably should have used a little bit of more cherry juice for that actually, because it was a little dry in the end. Not too dry, but just a little tiny bit too much for my liking. So then you put in the filling that you've made. Obviously not all of it, but I think it said like 1/4 or something, 3 deciliters approximately, I think it says, before you put in your second layer, which is the middle bit. And every time when making a cake where you have to cut the cake into parts, this happens to me. So I always seem to wreck it a little bit. I seem to not be able to cut it straight and it kind of breaks apart. But of course that doesn't matter because you are putting it in the middle anyway and there's going to be filling. So it's actually totally fine. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. So here I am putting together the puzzle pieces for the middle piece to make a layer before I start repeating the previous step, which is jam, cherry jam, jam, and then the filling, the cream cheese, cream, cherry, whatever was in it, filling. So this was actually recommended to bake the cake the day before, which is what I did, and then do the filling the next day. And you like, after this step, after I've assembled it, it had to go in the fridge for I believe at least an hour, but I put it in for about 2 hours, something like that. So there's kind of multiple steps in it, but I can tell you that I really like it. I think it's delicious. My partner actually does not like it, so there's a lot of cake for me to eat. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful mixture of chocolate and cherries. Kind of like that stuff that I'm spreading over the cake right now is very fresh. Of course, when I was doing these, I was trying to be careful to not scrape the non-stick cake tin because I'm using a spoon, and also you can probably see that I made a fair bit of mess when I was cutting the cake. There's a lot of crumbs around, the cake tin, and also I probably could have put a little more of this filling in as well. I just felt at the time when I was every layer I put it on, I felt like there was already enough, almost too much, but end result I can say that I could have probably done a bit more because I had some left over. Anyway, so this is when you put the top, or actually this is the bottom that you put on the top, and then you put it in the fridge. And because I had to wait, I obviously needed something else to do while it was in the fridge, and I'd actually made gingerbread the night before, so I wanted to decorate that gingerbread. So now I'm putting the cake in the oven and I move on to the gingerbread. So I bought all these different colours and like piping bags, and I even bought this gingerbread glue, but I ended up not using it. And here I was whisking the frosting. The frosting was meant to be quite firm, and I think this was a sign that it ended up being the right consistency, because look how it just stood up like that from the whisk. So I was going to, or I did divide that into multiple different colours, because what I wanted to do, and I failed at, just disclosure, I wanted to make these type of gingerbread that I've seen on TikTok, where people basically outline the gingerbread with like a firmer frosting, and then they just fill it in the middle, so like the whole gingerbread is coloured. But I ended up making too firm frosting, and it did not work out at all, which you will see soon. So it was kind of a fail, but now I know next time. Here I'm trying to make the red even more red, which of course doesn't do anything. I always have the same trouble when I'm using food colorings. I closest to what I wanted, with what I explained, that the middle part kind of just spreads out, because this was a bit more liquidy, and I thought at this stage when I was mixing it, I thought that that was going to be an issue, that it's more liquidy. Little did I know, but that's okay. Like I said, next time I will know. And again, not really my kind of Christmas green, but that's okay. You know, with everything, practice makes perfect. So next time I know to make firm frosting like this for the edges, and then more liquidy for the middle to actually fill in the edges. So here we are making a black frosting as well, because I had angels and I had like reindeer, and I wanted to do their eyes with black frosting. This one actually ended up being a little bit darker when I added more, which I was glad about. It's still more like a dark grey, but that was good enough for me. I was happy with that. So then I put them all in the piping bags, and I started outlining my reindeer, and I very soon realised that it's way too firm to do what I had planned. So I kind of ended up using a spoon to try to spread it around and just kind of fill them in anyway. They ended up being really, really thick, or like the layer of frosting ended up being really, really thick, as you can see here. And it just doesn't look the way I was hoping, but that's okay. Next time I know, and I've probably said that next time I know so many times in this video, I'm sorry. I'm not very used to doing voiceovers, and also I realised that I have to like constantly speak because the clips are changing pretty quick, and also I don't want to leave some like awkward silences. Also, these angels do not look like angels, they look like ghosts. So here we have some Christmas ghosts. I'm not going to say anything more about that. So here are my reindeers, then the Christmas ghosts, and then you will see some stockings. And if you look at the green colour, that's a little bit of the green and the red are kind of okay. That's the closest to what I had in mind, but still not quite what I had in mind. Anyways, back to the cake. So now I have flipped the cake upside down, put it on this plate that is way too small for the cake, and I ended up regretting this choice later. So now was time to spread more of that fluffy, creamy, cheesy filling on top and on the sides as well. And it's messy, and I have a very small plate under the cake, but it's fine. It's fine. I ended up in the end actually having to put another plate under this plate because I made a mess. But like I said, the cake tastes really good, and I think that it's probably one of those cakes that gets even better with time. So once all the fillings kind of soak into the cake even more, it's probably going to be even better tomorrow. So I'll look forward to that. And yes, here I am spreading the filling all around the cake. criteria was that as long as there's something happening in the clip, like there's movement, it's just not the cake sitting there on its own, there is actually something happening, that I can leave it in and I'll just ramble over it. So if you are looking for a long video to listen to or to watch and listen to, this might be for you. So as you can see, the frosting is going all over the plate, and there I'm kind of trying to make it a bit better, which didn't really achieve much. But then the cake was pretty much frosted over, and again at this point it tells you to put it in the fridge again, because you are also going to melt chocolate on top. So if it's not obvious yet, this is a very, very rich cake, because there is also already chocolate in the actual dough. The cake dough has chocolate in it, and also the recipe calls for chocolate on top of the cake. So it is a very rich cake, but of course this stuff that's been spreaded over does freshen it up. Not that it's any lighter with all the cream cheese and cream and stuff, but anyways. So after this I popped it back in the fridge and I started preparing the chocolate on top. So basically the recipe tells you to melt chocolate in a small pot, 150 grams of chocolate, and then mix in, I think, 1 deciliter of cream and also butter, maybe 2 tablespoons of butter, something like that. So that's what I did. I melted the chocolate with the butter and cream in a small pot, just like the recipe says. Here I am adding the cream in, and of course you want to be careful to not burn it. You don't want burned chocolate. Just a little fast forward here, because it was a pretty slow clip. I had the stove on really small because, like I just said, I didn't want to burn it. But slowly it is melting. The chocolate is melting into the cream and butter. The chocolate is melting. Then once you melted the chocolate, the recipe said to wait a little bit for it to cool down a bit, and I think I probably should have waited a bit longer before I started spreading it on the cake. But the idea is to put it on the edges so it can run down like it is doing here. Again, making a mess. It's making a mess. So after this, as you can probably understand, I ended up putting another plate under the cake. The recipe says that after you've spread the chocolate and let it run down the sides and put it all over the top, you pop it in the fridge again to let it harden, and then you can decorate the top with, like, putting more of that fluffy thing on top, or cherries or something. I did not film anything of the cake after this. I just kind of got tired of filming all these clips, and I finished here. But yeah, I did try the cake and I do mascarpone, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly, cheese, and you know, I left too much liquid in the cherries and I didn't wait long enough with the chocolate. I think it turned out pretty well. And of course, after all of this, the gingerbread, all the different colours of the gingerbread frosting and the cake, I had a lot of work for my new scrub mummy, scrub daddy, whatever it is, scrub polar bear. And I was very careful to not wash any knives. And then at the end of the video here, I thought I would show you my Christmas craft that I finished maybe a week and a half ago. It was a lot of work. I love it though. It's just cardboard cut into gingerbread houses. There was so much work with all those windows, and then I have a light chain behind it, and it's right across from my bed, and it just looks so nice and cozy in the dark like that. And to finish off my hard work with all the baking and decorating, I made myself a nice cup of tea in my Christmas Trees Fresh Market mug that you might remember from my Christmas video